poppin' everybody, Cerebral54, and yes, in this video we're going to talk about a single card, a single energy, double colorless energy. Everyone knows it, everyone knows it's a good card, but I feel like people don't really understand exactly how broken this card is. This is definitely one of the most broken cards in general of all time, and it might probably be the best energy ever created. Double colorless energy, its power and its significance over the years. Now, double colorless energy got released in base set, and in those formats, even though it wasn't used, like the best Pokemon, Hitmonchan, and Electabuzz, I guess Scyther did use it, so there's that. But I guess those two guys didn't use it. But nevertheless, the few competitive Pokemon that could take advantage of it definitely did take advantage of it. Like Chansey could use it. There were a few other colorless Pokemon like Tauros. If you attach the DC to Tauros, I believe it was from either Jungle or Fossil, I don't remember, but it basically acted like a one energy attachment since it was DC, but it counted as two energies. So it could use its rage attack, and then you just attach one more energy, I think, for the second attack. And Tauros, it was weak against Hitmonchan, but it basically acted as a good, solid, basic Pokemon with just one attachment, DC, when you did use it. Of course, if it wasn't for double colorless energy, when Wigglytuff was released and it was actually a solid stage 1 Pokemon, it probably wouldn't have been able to do shit if it wasn't for DC. With DC, it was a 2 energy attachment attack. You slap a DC and any sort of energy, but without it, with needing 3 energy attachments without the DC and with all the energy removals and double energy removals, it probably wouldn't have even done shit. So there's that. After base set, we didn't get to see it for basically more than a freaking decade. This card didn't get reprinted again until the first Hard Gold Soul Silver set, where it made such a massive impact. But we did have a few cards that were similar before it, like Boost Energy, Scramble Energy. We had a bunch of crazy energies in the EX era, but there was really no other card quite like it that did exactly the shit it did. Just provide 2 colorless energy with no cost. When it was released in Hard Gold Soul Silver, it was so significant after so many years, more than a decade, that it's like when it was released again for the first time. It was a completely different era, and having a card like that when Garchomp was around, Garchomp Sea Level X, was crazy. You have no idea how that card, when it was released, turned everything upside down. If that card didn't get released in the original the Hard Gold Soul Silver set, the base set, just gets so much value, competitive value, just for releasing that card, which isn't even, like I've said, the original set of the card. Garchomp Sea Level X getting access to DCE when that was released, doing basically 80 damage for one attachment in the form of a snipe too, is just more crazy than, Buzzle being able to do shitloads of damage with just a strong energy, choice band, Deancey down. It's worse than that. Garchomp Sea Level X 80 snipe for back then was worse than Buzzle GX doing, let's say, hundreds of damage just for one energy. And ever since it got reprinted in Hard Gold Soul Silver, we've always had it since then. It always got reprinted in Black and White. It got reprinted in X and Y. We have it now in Sun and Moon. And every time I review one of the upcoming, like the Japanese sets that are going to be released in the West eventually, I always see it reprinted again. And if you guys watch those videos, I've done this many times. You can see how I shortly express my disapproval. And the reason is that I really just feel like double colorless energy is a very unfair card, and it's unfair to Pokemon. Just think about all of the Pokemon that are compatible with double colorless energy, and then the Pokemon that aren't compatible with it. We basically have made it like it's like a thing that when we review cards, we just say, oh, if it's a double colorless compatible, it's a plus, because it really is. It means that that Pokemon can take advantage of double colorless energy, basically take an extra attachment. It has that covered. It can attack quicker than something that's not double colorless compatible. And I always felt that's really unfair. Like if double colorless energy didn't get released in Hard Gold Soul Silver, you best believe the whole format was going to be much different. And you could say that basically for any format where double colorless energy, if it wasn't around, because it really just gives every Pokemon that can take advantage of it an advantage, basically. They're superior than the Pokemon that can't run it or can't really utilize it. And I really think that sucks. When you think about it, a lot of these Pokemon, when they have, let's say, 3 energy attacks that are, let's say, 2 fire, 1 colorless, instead of 1 fire and the rest is just 2 colorless, so you can just slap a double colorless energy. A lot of the times, they're not even that, sort of amazing. Like it doesn't really, they never really push to that extreme where, you know what, it's not double colorless energy compatible, but this attack is definitely worth it. Like it's that much more powerful. So basically, it always makes the Pokemon that are usually double colorless energy compatible. It just makes them better. It's usually a better trade-off. And I feel that's really quite unfair. And just thinking about everything that double colorless energy brings to the table, like Zoroark GX being able to attack for 1 attachment basically, just an attack that costs 2 energy, but because it just requires a DC, just 2 colorless energy attachments, it makes that Pokemon so much more busted. And all the way when you think about, the Mewtwo days, Mewtwo with X-Ball, and even when Yveltal EX got released. Yveltal EX, even though that Pokemon did require a Darkness energy to use his attack, it needed a Dark energy and a colorless to use Evil Ball. But once again, colorless energy was used with that Pokemon because guess what? You would attach that energy. It acted as 2 energies on 1, so it basically gave Yveltal a 20 extra damage. Basically, it acted like a damage booster, an extra damage booster. Meet the darkness energy requirement, and then attach DCs, for a bigger effect to boost the damage quicker. On and on and on, all the implications that double colorless energy can help the Pokemon that it's compatible with and giving a disadvantage to the Pokemon that really can't utilize it. I've always felt it was quite unfair. Even though we did have plenty of powerful special energies before, like boost energy, scramble energy, there's always been, well, we don't have it right now, but we did have a few formats with double rainbow energy too. But when you think about all these powerful special energies, even boost energy, scramble energy, like even the rainbow energies, any sort of rainbow energies, they've always had at least some sort of costs. Double colorless energy, it only provides colorless, but it's just powerful. Just 2 colorless energy attachments. It's still a double sort of energy in 1, and there's no costs. And I know that, Enhance Hammer is a card, of course, that maybe keeps DC in check and all special energies in check. But, it's been proven that a card like that just isn't enough. A lot of the times, decks, especially like Zoroark GX, they just don't have that much trouble. They attach the energy, they're going to get their attack off. And then if you discard it, okay, they still got their attack off. They probably made sure that they did something significant with it. So I don't feel it's enough to just say, well, there's cards like Enhance Hammer to check it. I do certainly believe that it's a very powerful card and one of the strongest cards ever created. Might even be the most significant special energy for what it brought to the table, all the times it's been around, and just its impact in general. I'm not gonna go ahead and say, do you guys think it's broken? Do you guys think it's healthy to have it around or unhealthy and all this sort of stuff? You could say there's been the argument that, oh, it helps out Pokemon that otherwise it probably wouldn't have been able to do a lot of shit. Like, let's say the evolutions, a lot of the GX evolutions, what they do is you evolve them with the EV, you attach the basic energy for the corresponding type, and then you attach a DC and they can use their big attack. If they didn't have the DC, they probably wouldn't have been very good. But I feel like that's the problem. It's what I've been saying. Those Pokemon can take advantage of DC where other Pokemon that, might just have similar attacks to Espeon GX, Umbreon GX, Glaceon GX, and what have you. If it's not double colorless compatible, they get short end stick basically. They get the short end of the stick. I'm not really gonna ask you guys if you think it's healthy or unhealthy to have it around. I'm sure I'll get from both sides of the argument. It can help some Pokemon and it can make some other Pokemon broken. But what I want to ask you guys is, do you want another format where we don't have double colorless energy around, at least for a bit? Like, let's say for 1 year. Because I feel like ever since Heart Gold, Soul Silver, we've had it around, forever. It was always around ever since Heart Gold, Soul Silver. It always got reprinted in X black and white set or X and Y set, X sun and moon set, so that it's kind of always been around, like Pokeball and like Rare Candy, Switch, these cards that are always kind of around, they make sure to reprint them so that they're always around. And it seems DC is in that category now, where it's always going to be around. You could say the same with Ultra Ball too, but we're not talking about Ultra Ball here. And I don't know, I think I would really want to experience a format, without DCE again and see how it goes. Because it really is a busted energy. It's just a busted card in general. And I really don't like the fact that it just helps certain Pokemon and doesn't help others, in the sense that they reprint that and they think, okay, let's keep reprinting it. It gives some sort of urgency in the game, like attach an energy, then attach a DC, and certain Pokemon can use their bigger attack. So perhaps that's why they're printing it in this sort of TCG era, the modern TCG ever since Black and White, you could say. Now the TCG has changed with big Pokemon that give two prizes and what have you, and it gives them some sort of a urgency, like it gives some sort of flow in the game, you could say. So maybe that's why they keep reprinting it, if that even makes sense what I've said. I really wish it wasn't around, so Pokemon, okay, you know what, you need to attack with 3 energies, you manually attach with 3 energies. Probably Pokemon like Buzzwole and the other single attackers, the single basic energy attackers, would get even more value, but it's something that I think I want to experience again. So this is the question: would you guys want a format again without DC, at least for a while? Tell me what you guys think. I think I would say yeah, at least for a while. It's a card that of course I use, and a lot of decks, it really is, it's the heart and soul of those decks. It's impossible without it. Like Zoroark GX wouldn't be as big. Like when I use Slacking, of course DC helps it greatly. And basically any Evolution GX deck and any deck basically where the attack of the Pokemon is basic energy, and then the other two requirements is a DC, let's say. It makes it so it becomes a 2 energy attack as opposed to a 3 energy attack. Okay, and I think that's all I have to say. That's the question. Do you guys want to format with or without it again? Let me know. I hope I didn't forget. I had a lot to say about this card, and I hope I didn't forget anything. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys subscribe. Leave a like. Share this with your friends. Saberwolf94 will say